Now that you've gotten a good look at my M93R, let's talk about the internals and externals. Now, whenever I do enough work on an airsoft build, I like to nickname it. This one has been nicknamed Excella. The base gun is a KWA M93R NS2, which I guess is just M93R2 NS2, but Roman numerals because Roman numerals are cool, right? So, what I'm about to show you guys next may shock and disturb some of you milsimmers who try to forget that airsoft guns all shoot 6mm plastic spheres. So I don't actually use green gas when I field this gun. What I use is HPA. And when you use HPA, you don't really have to be constrained to 30-round magazines because you don't have to worry about running out of gas. So I have created this clever little contraption here that allows my M93R to use M4 mags. I'll also have a link in the video description to where you can find out more about this magazine adapter and even pick one up for yourself because I do sell them on Shapeways. Oh, I'm sure that MP5 mags and drum mags would look a lot better since it's 9mm just like the M9. But I already have a bunch of M4 mags and I don't want to be bothered buying a bunch of new MP5 mags, so I just went with that. So the fun part about this magazine, well, what I actually did here is I 3D printed an adapter that allows me to hook up M4 mags that feed into my M93R mag, and I've also HPA tapped my M93R. So I don't have to worry about running out of gas. So if I run out of ammo, cool thing about this is you can switch mags. It's hooked up to just a regular M4 mag clip. And the other thing about it is the BBs don't drain out. So when you disconnect a mag, you're not just going to dump 30 rounds, and you can just plug your next mag right in and you're good to go. So I can use this freely on the field without being at a huge disadvantage because everyone else I'm going with is using AEGs or HPA tapped AEGs and has 400 round mags. I can join in on the fun too and shoot lots of BBs. In this magazine, I've also got a DIY high flow valve. So this is what the regular M93R valve would look like. You notice there's 4 little holes for the gas to flow into the gun from. DIY modification is just taking the material out between 2 of the holes on opposite sides, so instead of 4 holes you have 2 larger holes. I gained about 5 FPS from that mod. Woo! So as for the externals, I have 2 folding stocks. I have the P-Force folding stock and the old style KSC folding stock. Out of the 2 stocks, I prefer to use the P-Force. The P-Force is not the most stable locking system. If you bump it, it will fold. You can always fold it back out with just a little flick of the wrist. So that's not bad. The KSC is a lot more sturdy, but it's just a little too long. It's not quite as comfortable as me. Quite not as comfortable for me as the P-Force, so I use the P-Force. As for the other externals, I've got a 9-ball M9 compensator. To get this compensator to work with my M93R, I had to make 2 modifications. First of which I had to cut back the M93R's outer barrel a little bit, otherwise the compensator doesn't slide back far enough to fit flush with the slide, which looks very good in my opinion, or at least a lot better than when it's a little too forward. Also this little finger here on the compensator I had to cut back, otherwise it would interfere with my gun and I wouldn't be able to let the slide back. Other than that, I think the compensator looks very nice. I have a Hurricane M9 scope mount, and on that scope mount I have an AIM Warfare Edition red dot sight. As for the rail itself, the Hurricane M9 scope mount, it's like too narrow. Some stuff doesn't quite mount on it right. For instance, with this red dot sight, I needed to put a little bit of cotton for it to work, and some other things don't quite fit on this rail. It's too narrow, so I had to file that out. I'm pretty sure nearly any scope mount that fits the KSC or KWA M9 should work with the M93R as well, considering the locking block is pretty sure the same exact thing between the two. And I have the stock M93R NS2 grips. I may hunt down some old style KSC wooden grips, because I think that'd be pretty cool. Otherwise, I might get some custom made myself. As for internal upgrades, the only internal upgrade I have in here, this is BB still in the chamber, is the Maple Leaf Evo 2 hop-up set. Highly recommended upgrade. Gives me extremely good performance with my M93R. So if you have any KWA guns and you want to upgrade them, I highly recommend checking for an Evo 2 set from Maple Leaf. One issue Excella has developed very recently after several years of use is trigger sticking in semi-automatic. So what I mean by that is when firing in semi, you'll pull the trigger, the gun will fire, it'll cycle normally, and then when you release the trigger and pull it again, nothing will happen. And then if you release the trigger the second time, you'll hear a click and the gun will cycle and fire fine. The issue is very intermittent. Sometimes it would do it every couple of shots, and sometimes it would barely do it at all. But I only noticed that issue in my last outing to a battalion in Jacksonville a couple weeks ago. So I did some research on the internet and I heard of a few parts that are supposed to fix the issue. If you remove the right side grip off of your 93, you will see the burst fire, or just the general components that control your fire rates. I recommend removing these two springs relatively quickly to ensure that you don't launch them across your room, because you're not going to have fun searching for those two things on a floor. The parts that I heard would fix this problem is the disconnector set from WeTech. That's W-I-I Tech, not W-E. The disconnector set includes this little bar here and the fin part in the back that moves as the gun cycles. And what this fin does is it integrates with your slide here to reset the hammer when your gun's firing. The other part is the 3-shot connector, which is this little pick looking thing, which is kind of the back portion. And if you're going to upgrade the disconnector, I highly recommend getting the disconnector set and the 3 connector at the same time, because KWA's disconnector and 3-shot connector set is kind of janky, and mine basically fell apart. But it did work for a while. So if you're going to get these parts, I recommend you splurge and get the disconnector set and the connector set. And good luck getting the screw out without destroying it. You might need to get a replacement screw from KWA. But either way, after some initial testing, this set did seem to get rid of the issue. At first, it kind of needed a little bit of a break-in period before the semi-automatic started working. It was kind of weird at first, but after I cycled it a little bit, it seems to be working fine now. I've only tested about like 100 rounds through it as of making this video, but the issue seems to be gone. I won't really know for sure how fixed it is until my next trip, but I guess I need to get this video finished and uploaded, so I'll edit the video description for how well these parts work. But so far in my initial tests, they seem to be doing a good job. I'll also put a link in the video description to where you can find these parts for purchase. Interestingly enough, Tokyo Marui High Kappa enhanced hammer springs actually fit the M93R like perfectly. They don't work though. I do not recommend using them because in burst fire, the trigger sticks. That is the overview of my M93R Excella. So thank you for watching. If you want to see a shooting demonstration, I'll upload a video of that soon if I haven't already. Otherwise, check the video description for a link to that and you can see this gun in action. Otherwise, check out my channel for more crazy builds or some pretty sweet airsoft combat videos. But thank you for watching and you take care.